Hi, I'm Jake, and welcome to the newest podcast on YouTube called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where I interview people involved with good shows and more from our childhoods. We'll be sharing our favorite memories, top behind-the-scenes moments, and so much more. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to this Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. I'm your host, Jake, and you see, almost every single episode we have co-hosts Chris Bixby and Matthew Johnson. Like every single episode that I said, how are you both?
We are good.
Good.
Very good.
Very awesome. Very awesome.
Very good.
Like we're always doing good at like literally every single episode. That's how excited we are and how we really are to the you know, I don't even mean to say. But anyway, the last episode we've done, Kyle Nelson.
Yes.
Yes.
That was
amazing.
It is for seeing his stories about some of them where we didn't even know about his stories as being BJ for Barney Friends, and he was him for some tours and everything. And
working with the Wiggles.
Yes. Oh yeah, because of the Barney's musical castle. Not Fernando.
With Fernando.
Yeah, and we talked about a little bit of Fernando too, and to the people who knows Wiggles and knows Barney, blah blah blah. But anyway, with no more chit chat that I don't really need from myself. Anyways, this guest we're gonna have for this episode is he is a puppeteer and voice actor, I should say, for so many characters that like literally so many characters. But because for Pokemon
Pokemon, he voiced Hawlucha and Incineroar, I believe, right? Is that right? Yes. And someone else in Team Flare, I think.
And he was character for Bamboo House, and he also did a puppeteer or voice actor to Winslow and Riona from It's Big World. And I'm gonna get this information here because I've honestly have no idea if some people even know this, but I'm thinking he did the narrator for WordWorld instead of HQ.
Yeah.
Quinn, who credited that from the credits, but not Tyler, which is strange. But and
he did with Between the Lions also, and the Book of Pooh. He did both of those, didn't he?
Yeah.
Book of Pooh, Between the Lions.
I think so.
Mm.
But all of them that he did, and he's Tyler Bunch. How are you doing?
I'm good, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys. And I have a secret to tell you, Jake. The name you were trying to think of that you saw in the credits of WordWorld was H.D. Quinn.
Yeah, H.D. Quinn. That's what
H.D. Quinn. Yeah.
Oh well, I am H.D. Quinn. They're one and the same. It's
that makes
what
sense.
We call in the biz a pseudonym. So if you
like a stage name or something like that.
Yeah, basically, yeah. With WordWorld, there was an agreement I had with the producers of WordWorld that my name would be attached as a producer because that's one of the things that I did. And since my name was already going to be in the credits as a producer, then we gave the credits that I was doing as a voice actor a different name.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right there. And I'm glad that you said about like on Twitter or whatever that's you, because it's good for having the people that work for the show that has made the information of what it is instead of like people thought it's H.G. Quinn and that's a different person. Who the heck is that guy? But it's like it's you really. That's an other name. But
my secret identity.
You're Batman.
The secret identity. Anyway, let's get this started. So, how do you start become a puppeteer or a voice actor? Do you think about doing it while you grow up, or you think about just doing it for a lifetime, or just how did it all happen, and where are you now?
Well, for me, I mean, everybody's obviously got their own story, but for me, I started as a puppeteer first, at least professionally, just because of the way things fell out. But to answer your question, I've been told by family, even before I was aware of it, I used to like to kind of put on character voices and do funny characters for my toys and entertain my sister by making silly voices and doing accents and things like that. And when I decided that I was going to be an actor when I was around 14 years old, that kind of ability lent itself to certain kinds of acting. You become what's called a character actor, and you lean more toward kind of characters outside of your own skin or outside of what would normally be seen as what you would be cast as. And then when I moved to New York to be an actor on the musical theater stage, I had, during my college years, kind of found monitor puppetry or puppetry for television. And I'm sure you guys have had other people on your show that have talked about, like, puppetry for TV is a little bit different in that while you're working, you're watching a television monitor so that you see the image that the camera sees and therefore that the audience at home sees, so that whenever you're moving the puppet and you look down at the image, just like everyone else would at the TV, you can turn the puppet the right direction so it looks like what it's supposed to be looking at.
Go
ahead.
Continue. I think what I was going to say is I think Bruce touched upon that a little bit about looking at the TV.
Oh yeah,
looking at the screen.
Yeah, that's actually our first episode, which Bruce.
Yeah, I think he talked about looking at the
voice actor
TV
too.
screen while he was puppeteering. So
Right.
Yeah, he was.
Go for it, Jake.
Oh, okay, all right, no problem. I know he was he was actually a additional puppet for the to Kermit for the last scene of the 2011 Muppets movie. So
yeah,
that's really awesome. Really awesome scene for that end of the movie.
It was a fun movie. It was fun to be part of.
Pretty awesome.
So that skill set, like learning how to and practicing doing, interesting voices and specific character voices, tied in with moving the puppet around for TV, the monitor style puppetry, that the two of those things together are what makes a really good puppet performer. But then being a good voice actor, because it's such a big part of being a puppeteer, if you're lucky enough that people start recognizing your work just as a voice actor and ask you to be part of things that they're doing in that arena, then you can start doing things like that. So I was a puppeteer first, and then the voice acting thing came afterwards.
That's cool.
I know you. I think you. If I'm correct here, I think your first puppeteer on something is Sesame Street.
My big break, so to speak, the first professional job that I got in New York, was being part of Sesame Street. When they would have really big episodes where they needed a lot of characters in the scene, they would need people outside of the normal regular cast. So I was one of the people who had sent a tape into the Jim Henson Company and got on their long list for when they needed lots of people. So my first 4 years of being able to do Sesame Street, I worked like maybe 10 or 11, 12 days,
Wow.
skipping around in those 4 years when they needed a lot of people. But then, my first character that was my own for a full-time job was for Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh, wow.
That's really awesome.
Bear in the Big Blue House has had an influence on all of us because we all three of us grew up with Playhouse Disney.
Yes.
Especially with Bear in the Big Blue
I
House
came back
and the
then.
Wiggles and all the shows.
That's
So-
awesome.
Yeah. And that's crazy that after, for what you did in Sesame Street, you go into like Big Brother House, Book of Pooh, It's a Big World, so many other shows too. It's crazy. I know you definitely have a great experience of what you had for being in so much shows.
Yeah, I've been very, very lucky because once it's like anything else, like you see that a lot of the guys who play specific sports wind up hanging out together, and a lot of the guys who and gals who do other types of high profile jobs wind up hanging out together. Once you get a reputation for ideally, being good at something, then you're one of the people that gets called at the very least to audition for whatever the new things are that come along. So yeah, it's my next big project for Sesame after Bear was a thing called Sesame Beginnings, which was for little kids, where I played Baby Cookie Monster, and that kind of got me on their radar again, so that when they needed more people to fill out their regular cast after I'd done, like you said, all those other things, the Between the Lions, and there were other pilots for things that,
Pokemon,
shows that people
Pokemon.
tried to sell. Yep. And Pokemon happened, I think my first time was probably 2004, I think.
Oh, dang. Well, X and Y, XYZ was a big part of my childhood because that was one of the Pokemon series that I grew up watching. And
really?
and it has always been my favorite ever since I saw it. Just with Ash Greninja has always been. Ash Greninja is actually my phone screen. I don't know if you can see it, but that's.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the character that had the biggest impact on the storyline was I was the bad guy a couple of years ago, Lysander.
Oh yeah.
And that was fun to do, and actually, because I was doing a job for the Jim Henson Company in Las Vegas at the time, a lot of the lines that I recorded for Lysander, I actually recorded in the closet of a hotel in Las Vegas.
Wow.
So, and I bet doing Halucha was fun also.
Halucha was I guess I could say he was my first, and therefore kind of my favorite recurring character for Pokemon. Yeah. Halucha was because I got to come up with everything for him, which was really fun.
But his vocabulary is very limited, though.
Well, they all are. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing about being a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
True, yes.
Anyway, so what's it like for playing a dad to one of the most popular Sesame Street characters? Like, basically, more specifically, you played Puppeteer voice, like whoever you did Elmo's dad for Sesame Street. How does it feel for doing the dad to Elmo for the show?
Well, luckily, I kind of had a map for that one because the guy who originated the character was the first one to play it, Bill Beretta. He's very talented, and he kind of set a lot of what we call the tone for the character and how he and Elmo relate and how he relates to the world at large. So everything about Louie, Bill kind of invented, and I just got to kind of pick up and do things sort of imitating him. And then once I got comfortable, then I could kind of do things on my own. But at first, Louie was just part of what we call the philanthropic part of Sesame, the things that they do outside of the main show that's on TV. Louie was first about helping people who have issues at home, family issues, and they wrote stories about that. So it was just videos that they kind of gave away to help people learn about how to talk to their kids and stuff. So Louie's always represented the way, the positive way that a dad and a kid should communicate. And then lately, obviously, with a lot of the troubles that have been going on in the world, Louie's had more to say about how to help kids understand some of the things that people are mad about and some of the things that are going on. So there's been more important reasons for him to be having conversations with Elmo. So it's felt pretty good to be part of the stuff that's been going on nowadays.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about one of his other characters that have had a big impact on us is Dress Up Chest, because Blues, the company Blues Clues and Blues Room has had a big like place in all three of us.
Yes.
That's awesome. So for those of you who don't know at home, obviously there was what we call a live action version, an all puppet version, except for Steve made an appearance. Actually, both of them did. Of the Blues Clues franchise called Blues Room, where Blue was actually a puppet, and there were other characters that were developed for that. And I played Dress Up Chest, which was the
dress up song will forever be stuck in my head. No, don't apologize. It's great.
I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah, I remember that show very well.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That means you can still do a voice that I heard from my ear, and it's so cool that the Blues Clues like did Blue's Clues was so popular that it did the
The reboot.
sequel to the show, like Blue's Clues.
Well, reboot
and-
sequel. It flip flops between reboot and sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure you know, Tyler, but Blue's Clues actually did a reboot of the show, which is called Blue's Clues and You.
Right. And there's a new young man who's
Joshua,
the one that talks to the
Joshua
camera.
De La
Yeah.
Cruz. Yep.
Yeah, but he's actually a really cool new host. And
Yes.
Steven and some episodes of the reboot that Steven Joe was a part of some episodes, especially the Christmas episode in the pilot, the first episode of it. Oh my gosh. I'm just glad that the Blue's Clues franchise is still alive.
So if
well.
there's a need for Dress Up Chest to return, would you return to do Dress Up Chest?
Oh, of course I would. It was fun. It was a fun show to do.
Yeah, especially the characters he done for the shows. And probably the same reaction, to the other shows they made, really, to be honest.
They'd have to make probably some new puppets for Bear, because I think that the Bear puppet in itself was destroyed, wasn't it? Like,
Or it deteriorated or something.
yeah,
I mean-
didn't.
All puppets in general. Well, I mean, if the materials that the puppets that we typically use are made of, that are used to make the puppets that we normally use, kind of just naturally deteriorate over time. And matter of fact, a lot of the hand puppets that we use that are made out of the soft foam, it's what we call toasty. They literally start to disintegrate into pieces and little tiny parts that look like toast crumbs. So we call them toasty. That foam, as a very sturdy but flexible and light material, is a lot easier for a puppeteer to be able to manipulate for hours at a time, because otherwise, if you make it out of more durable things, it's heavier and it's just harder to use. So yeah, some of the foam in the original Bear, I'm sure, has deteriorated. He would have to go through a big makeover for him to be able to be used again.
Yeah.
That's
No,
really
so-
awesome. That's
So
awesome.
yeah. On the subject of Bear, what was it like getting to play all those characters like Trilo and Pop and Doc Hogg, all those characters?
Yeah.
I can honestly say that's my favorite show that I've ever worked on. That besides the fact that it was
Really
where
awesome.
I learned the most about the puppetry part of things. I was very, very green, very new to it, and needed a lot of help getting better when I first started on that show. But like Trilo, for instance, I actually sort of invented his name, because when they were first talking about the show before we had shot any of the stuff in the studio, when they were dealing with the network, the Disney Channel, and telling them what the show was going to be, and sent the breakdown of the characters, his name was Rolio. And
Oh wow.
it also changed at one point, I think, to Rolo. But the gentleman who was the creator animator of another show that was on the Disney Playhouse block in the mornings, PB&J Otter, had a character named Rolly on his show.
Mm-hmm.
So he felt that the names were too close. So he let the Disney people know, the very important Disney officials know, that they needed to change the name. So the creator and the head writer suggested we all come up with a list of names that could happen. And when I auditioned for Trilo, when his name was Rolo, the kind of rolled R's and the L's and the O sounds were what I was basing how I made his voice. So when he would do his gobbledygook language, it had a lot of those kind of rolly sounds in it. So I wanted to make sure that I kept the R sound and the E and the O. So on my list of names, they were all very similar. And that name Trilo was because he was, spending most of his time in the trees. I thought it would be cute if that name was, part what he eventually got saddled with. And luckily for me, both the head writer and the creator of the show picked that name. So I actually came up with Trilo's name.
Wow. That's really awesome.
Awesome.
Also, since we were talking about Sesame Street earlier, it's so awesome that Sesame Street is still going, like, after
I think it's
like,
on HBO Max
after
now, isn't
five
it?
after 5 decades. It's so
Like on HBO Max is where it airs now, isn't it? Or does it? I don't really know.
It's famous for previous kids too. Like I don't know, but I think mostly HBO Max for the new
Yeah.
episode.
So it's both. What happens is we make the shows. There's 26 new shows, and then 9 shows that are made of compiled material. So there's 26 things that are made that are all new, and then 9 shows that are pieces and parts of those, and some pieces and parts from shows of the past that are kind of on a theme. And then all those shows are released first on HBO Max. And then 9 months later, those same episodes move to PBS.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. In Sesame Street too, that's a show that we all definitely grew up with. Show that's
Yeah.
been around
Not
for
as
like
much
generations.
Not as much me as them two. Them two are more. I really wasn't into Sesame Street that much as a kid.
You're forgiven.
Well, like the way you said it. Anyway, but yeah, it's so amazing that Sesame Street like still going like so much years and still going on, just
Still going
incredible.
strong.
Cause I don't know if not a lot of shows that we know of that be more longer than Sesame Street. Okay, I know Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was very close to that point.
I was like, but hadn't the Simpsons gone on for longer, or has it not?
No, I don't think so.
Not yet.
It doesn't. It
No.
hasn't?
Not yet.
It's gone on for a long
And-
time.
Yeah,
And I know,
yeah.
and I
Sesame
know-
Street's definitely the longest running, I'd say, as far as like children's shows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
think
know
only the
that.
Tonight Show's been on longer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I know that Mr. Watch Neighborhood was either very close to either to 30s or a little few years after the 4 years of Mr. Watch Neighborhood. That's how long it is probably. Okay, I'm gonna say this before this right here, Chris. This is gonna be like cut. So, see, I saw at the time it's gonna be remaining meeting time for 4 minutes 30 seconds. No worries. I'm going to keep on recording.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah.
Because
This is the only time that you mentioned it.
I'm
Yeah.
going to I'm going to put the footage and then we can keep on recording again. But anyways,
Mhm.
so how does it feel for like you being that much characters for much shows? Like how does it feel for like be part of it? Is it how we love you are, or is it just like how much talent do you give to it that you're in so much shows?
Well, everything that I'm a part of, obviously, I always want to try and, do my best to make sure that I'm helping to make it the best thing that it can be. Like whatever my ideas are that could maybe make it funnier or make it more entertaining or make the lessons come across better. Luckily, most of the people that I work with are very receptive and it's kind of a team effort to make whatever the thing is. So almost everything, I'm very lucky that almost everything I've been a part of, I've really enjoyed, helping to make it. And I used to make a rule with myself that I wanted to make sure that all of my characters sounded completely different and none of them sounded like each other. And I did pretty good about that for a while. And then after a while, you just run out. There's just only so many one person can do.
Yeah, because I noticed with like
Yeah.
Trilo and Riona from It's a Big Big World, they both have like the same voice.
Yeah, very, very close. The only thing that's different is their kind of attitude about the world, and Riona tries harder for you to understand what she's saying.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really understandable from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, before I'm going to the next question, all I'm gonna say is like I'm glad that I'm just grew up with Bear and Snow, because those two is just such amazing main characters for the show. Like Barney's kind of like the same, it's kind of the same personality to Snoke and Bear. That's how really like personality they really are. They really it's close to Barney's personality.
So
But if you
just so
know
positive,
Barney,
and rarely see them get mad or get sad or anything.
Right.
Yeah, they just like so positive, like every single word you literally ever even said to begin with. Honestly, that's how
I have a I have a
That's
bit
how a
of a
good
question.
possibility.
Oh, Jake, you continue.
That's how a good positive that they really are, which I'm really grateful. I hope that more characters like that will be like that in more later future kid shows like that.
I agree. It's very, very wholesome, all of them. And I think whether it was intentional or not, they all kind of sound like and relate to the world like Fred Rogers did. So I think he kind of set the tone that a lot of those characters follow, which is cool.
Yeah.
So my question is, how was it working with Noel? Was it fun?
He is such a jerk. No, I'm kidding. He's awesome. Noel, he's a pretty amazing performer on all fronts, because not only do you, the biggest thing we try to say when we're doing puppetry, or at least I try to do when I'm performing a puppet, is I want you to see when the puppet is thinking, not just expressing happiness or sadness or whatever, but to be able to not only tell when the puppet actually looks like it's thinking, but even what it's thinking. Mm-hmm. And Noel's really good at helping you completely believe in the emotional and intellectual presence of the character. You really can see Bear. Noel really helps the audience and therefore helps Bear relate to the audience so specifically that you know when Bear is thinking, you know what he's feeling, even when he doesn't say a word. Plus, just the stamina, because he has to be inside that thing for hours and hours in any given day. And
you didn't have to be inside anything, and
exactly.
Yeah,
and it's
you just had a puppet, a regular puppet. He had the big tall puppet.
Exactly. And it's a lot of work, and he does it very, very well and makes it look very easy. So it's impressive.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. Now, did you do like any full body like characters?
I have done a couple. There was a character that I was supposed to do for a series for the Jim Henson Company that never went anywhere. It was a big lion. But then I've also been in Thog a few times, who's the really, really tall, big blue guy that's part of the Muppets.
Yeah, I remember him.
Oh wow.
You were him in the Muppets movie, weren't you?
Yep. One for Disney in 2011, and then
the one that Bruce was in. Did you remember working with Bruce?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we worked together a couple times. Yeah,
very awesome.
He's very, very talented guy. But I know
he's a really nice guy too.
Yes.
Yeah, the character that I was in the most, probably, I for a short while was the mascot for the New York Mets, Mr. Met.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Not even a TV character, just a mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Is there any moments that you have throughout your career that you just like felt like so like that you glad that to be what you're doing? Like you just basically felt touch of what you're doing, what people saying about your talent and everything. That's if you know what I mean, what I'm saying.
Of course. Well, again, I always felt everything we were doing with Bear in the Big Blue House was really, really special. It was just a really good show, and it had a really great message, and the way that it dealt with all kinds of different subjects, and the way it communicated with kids was just really, really great. And then I can also say I felt that way pretty strongly about what I was saying earlier about some of the things that we've done with Louie and Elmo, with Elmo's father and Elmo himself, dealing with some of the stressful issues that society at large has been dealing with, and what we've been able to do with kind of putting positive messages into the world with those two has been really, really great. But really been happy to be part of it.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
I can imagine what the experience was like for you guys getting to work on such a wonderful show that's touched the lives of many people. And and about that, like Bear in the Big Blue House dealt with like all sorts of different like things. Do you have like a favorite episode of Bear, or
There's an episode I really remember strongly and fondly because it was one of the first times I remember a show dealing with sort of for kids that age, sort of this feminism. Is this episode You Go Ojo, where Ojo had decided she wanted to do things regardless of whether girls were supposed to do that kind of stuff. And just the message of that show was very strong, and also when we dealt with the episode that was written after 9/11, which was when there was a storm, a tornado that went through Woodland Valley, and people's homes being destroyed, and that episode was written literally because of and in response to 9/11, because when 9/11 happened, that morning I was heading into the city on a train because we were supposed to start reading the first scripts of season 4, and we were shooting season 4 of Bear in the Big Blue House at studios on Chelsea Piers in lower Manhattan, sort of midtown Manhattan. And we couldn't go to work for 2 weeks because they anticipated that they were going to need to use the places where we shot for part of the cleanup and part of the rescue efforts. And we were all so emotionally distraught because of everything that had gone on. Everybody sort of rallied, and the creator and the writers created this whole new 2-part episode that hadn't existed about helping people deal with tragedy like that. And it was a pretty important episode, and actually technically I think it was 2 episodes. And it was one of those times where, again, very happy to be part of something that was very immediately speaking to something that was affecting a lot of people, and to be able to use that platform and the art form to kind of help people was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I remember that episode too. That was the one with the library and Bear meets like 2 possums.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Now Matthew and Jake probably don't know this, but I saw somewhere that you actually wrote some songs for Bear.
Pretty much anytime the characters rapped in this series, Bear in the Big Blue House, I wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, I remember. No, you wrote one of those was Otter Love, right?
Right.
The ones that you wrote. Yeah, that's a great song.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've had a couple people tell me that like they started listening to that song like with their other dance mix stuff just because they liked it so much. It's kind of funny.
Very awesome. I know that I know Bear and Bonnie was a part of the We Are Family music video because of the for 9/11. Do you know Bonnie? Speak of.
I mean, I met him because of that. I met the performer that was in Super. Matter of fact, we were talking about.
Was it Carrie? Would it have been Carrie, or would it? Who would it have been?
Right.
Okay.
African American gentleman.
That would be David.
David Joyner.
That would be David Joyner.
David Joyner.
Yeah.
And then later on, like in 2002, 2010, when the show ends, that's Carrie Simpson.
Yes.
So that was David Joyner that was doing that.
Yes.
Yep, and he also and speaking of Carrie Simpson, he made a podcast named Purple Rose Podcast, and is actually on to 75 episodes right now, which is really amazing.
We're only on.
I think you probably like the podcast, to be honest, Carrie.
Yeah, Noel was actually one of the people who was on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Okay.
Oh, and real quick, I want to say we're hopeful because there's a petition that's going around that's like huge right now to get
Bear on Disney Plus.
Yeah, to get Bear in the Big Blue House on Disney Plus.
Disney has not as yet to put it on there. Look, Pooh's on there, but No Bear in the Big Blue House.
I think Book of Pooh's how it got Disney Plus because of Book of Pooh, because of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, probably
really.
But Bear in the Big Blue House is pretty popular too, Jakey.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah. Did you do something for We Are Family music video?
Well, yes, we did a couple things because I was at that time both part of the Between the Lions crew and the Bear crew. I think
that's really cool.
Was it Sesame Street a part of We Are Family, or was it?
Yeah, I think so. But I think some characters. I know I think Emma was a part of that too. I think.
Yeah, some Big Bird too. Big Bird and Elmo.
Oh yeah,
maybe a couple other people.
That's really cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. Both of them are part of it, and some other characters too. Which is really awesome. I know We Are Family music video is such a really fun to work with, and for Between the Lines to be collabing with the other, some
with
other
Bear
shows,
and with Bear and Barney, and
it's so amazing.
Zoom and all those shows.
Thanks
to go Between the Lines and Sesame Street, which are on PBS Kids, to collab with something like Bear in the Big Blue House that was on Playhouse Disney, 2 different networks.
So that what was wrong with them? That I remember that again I'm saying thanks to you, Christopher Surf for making We Are Family. I know he's also creator of Between the Lions as well. So that's a really genuine guy who has really, really cool ideas that people love so much from that show and We Are Family. So I'm sorry if it's going to be a tough question to make, because you did so much characters, but do you have a favorite character that you just like to do the voice and puppeteering all the time? Like, is it any character you just want to do him the most, or voice the character the most?
Again, I have the fondest memories of Trilo, and I really enjoyed performing Doc Hogg. And of course, right now, the things that we've been able to do with Louie have been amazing. The character I had the most fun performing in general, because it was kind of a no holds barred thing. I did a mascot for Air New Zealand, the airlines out of New Zealand. His name was Rico. And the thing about Rico, they were trying to advertise these seats that they had invented in order to have a more affordable yet comfortable class of airline travel, because so many people were going to New Zealand to check out the places where Lord of the Rings was shot. So Air New Zealand was getting a lot more people using their planes, and they wanted to be able to have something that wasn't this tight little economy seat and wasn't so expensive as first class. They wanted something in between. And so they invented their own seats. And the character that they invented to kind of advertise that was this odd, you couldn't tell what he was, whether he was like a raccoon or a squirrel or a...
I think of Rico, I think of like a bird that seems like some kind of bird.
Yeah, like he's all kinds of weird, and they wanted to have this weird accent that you wanted him to have this weird accent that you couldn't place, so he had to not sound like he was from anywhere specific. He's just this weird creature that just likes to fly in planes. And the big thing about him was that he was, you guys, I'm sure you know the and the term, like innuendo or malapropism. Yeah, where you say things that have a double meaning. And with Rico, he always accidentally made jokes that were like kind of adult jokes. Every time he opened his mouth, he would accidentally use the wrong words, and it made it sound like he was saying something dirty every time he talked. He never was trying to be
like a brown raccoon.
He does look like a raccoon. Like a raccoon with ridiculously huge eyes.
With a purple like vest suit. What?
Yeah, he's really weird. And I got to do him for almost 2 years. We did all kinds of different videos, and I got to be in videos with David Hasselhoff and Lindsay Lohan. I co-wrote.
Yes,
I co-wrote a rap and performed it with Snoop Dogg.
Wow!
I got to do all this really fun stuff.
I see that.
With him,
and it was made at the Jim Henson Creature Shop.
Yeah, they designed and built him. Yeah.
Wow. And
I saw.
Yeah, that's really awesome that you really like so many characters that you mentioned, like the question I said, and then especially it's really cool that we did like the New Zealand being mascot performer. That's really awesome. Like for being be in, being the character. It's really enjoyable to do. So is there any stuff that you have around you that you want to show that like what I mean, like photos or like or plushes that you actually have,
or any
like
kind of like memorabilia that you got from like when the show was done taping,
or
this
just shows that you have from. Oh, what was that?
That's the Emmy Award I won for WordWorld. Being one
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness!
That
Wow!
is so cool.
You won an Emmy for it?
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's your experience for being narrator for WordWorld anyway?
WordWorld was a lot of fun because with that one, the reason I was even hooked up with it to begin with is the guy who invented the show, Don Moody. He came up with the idea for the toys first, and the basic concept is, here's a toy with magnets in it, and these letters, when you put them together, because of the way the letters are drawn, actually look like the thing that the word spells. So the letters in train, when you have this toy and it's little plushy pieces like a T and an R, and they have magnets in them, and they only go together a certain way, but when those letters, because they look so specifically like the thing, are together, you see that the word train is a train. And
wow.
Duck, the word duck, D-U-C-K, actually looks like a duck. And kids playing with these toys immediately could pick up how to spell the word, because
that's really amazing.
C-A-T is like cat. That's what it is, right? And his thought was he wanted to make a show to kind of support the selling of the toys and the getting kids to learn in this sort of osmosis kind of way how to spell words. And at the time, obviously, as has always been, Sesame Street's been kind of the tried and true, this is the most popular show for the age range he was going for. He thought his show should be puppets. Wow. And somehow, through a friend of mine, his name's Aaron Waiton, Aaron said, I know a guy who does puppets, and I went and met him. And he ordered oversized versions of his toys from China, and I turned them into puppets, and we shot a video. Then he used that video to get funding, but then it became very clear that the puppets and having the puppets turn into things was just going to be so expensive that it made more sense for it to be animation. So over the next 7 years, he tried to get the show made with different people, and eventually found some co-producing partners in Canada, and was able to get the show made. And because of the deals he made with them, the kind of only thing left for me, even though I'd kind of helped him develop the show and the characters, was to be part of the voice cast. So I became the narrator of the show, and then I also performed the voice of the character Dog, and Duck, and Ant, and Cow.
Very cool characters.
And I can't remember the other ones, but there were a lot. There were a lot.
Yeah, because you know how much characters there is.
Is that video ever going to see the light of day that y'all filmed with the puppets?
No, with the puppets, it's out there somewhere. I'm sure he's got a copy of it. I should make him upload it.
That's cool.
But I actually got.
Yeah, that's really interesting what you've done for WordWorld, like you mentioned. That's really.
How long was the video? Was it like a 40-minute video or a 30?
It was like it was made to look like there were several episodes that had been shot, and there was just, that we were doing scenes from different storylines. So it looked like
just filmed it in one go.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I forgot to put it around for this interview, but I actually have a WordWorld DVD, which I think it's called like moving. Like it's kind of like moving or gluing or something that's kind of like related to that. I forgot, but yeah, I have a WordWorld DVD, and so that's really cool. Anyway, so is there any favorite song that you know from Big Brother House? Okay, those shows I'm going to mention. Big Brother House, It's Big World, WordWorld, The Book of Pooh. Was those 4 shows? Do you have a favorite song from those 4 shows?
There's a song that I sing a lot from The Book of Pooh, just because it pops into my head. There's an episode where a Brussels sprout falls into the book, and because of the size of it, it winds up being huge. It's this big.
I think I recognize it.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
I think I recognize it. Speaking of the Book of Pooh, actually we watched the full series of the Book of Pooh on Disney Plus, and it's actually it's a really cool series.
You got a lot of time on your hands. That's a lot of shows.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But Tigger was very energetic. So how was it doing that?
Well, that was very interesting because, you know, again, with that show, when you're watching it, you got to imagine that behind every character, there's 3 puppeteers wearing green smocks.
Green screen, because it's going to be green screens. You know, you have to wear it. Otherwise, you're going
to show up in the video in the episode.
Yeah.
A floating person or a floating head.
I know. I know Noel MacNeal is probably a part of that show too, as a puppeteer.
Yes.
Who did he do?
He was the core performer for Rabbit.
I know,
cool character. I
know Peter was also a part of that.
Peter was the core performer
he did Pooh, didn't he?
For Pooh, yes, he did.
Yep, and it's so cool that
3 bear performers were together in another playoff Disney show. So
which is really cool. I forgot his name. The voice the actual voices of the Winnie Pooh to be a part of the Book of Pooh is really cool. And it's very interesting that the guy Winnie the Pooh movie recently, like a couple years ago, which is called
Robin.
For Robin. Yes. But if you guys didn't watch a movie, I'm only gonna say this: the movie is really cool.
I haven't seen it yet either. I haven't gotten around to see it.
Say good as I said it, because
I saw it in theaters. It was really good.
Yeah, I never got around to seeing it when it came out, so I need to watch it.
It's actually a really cool movie. Is there anything that it's the easiest and hardest thing that I've done for trying to make a voice to, or like to puppeteer? Like what I'm saying, like is there like an easiest or to do or hardest thing or like hardest thing to do?
Are you asking him if there was what was his hardest voice to do? Is that what you're asking?
I think just like in general, like easiest part of doing what you do or hardest part, you know?
Yeah.
I see. Basically. Well, obviously the more you get to know a character, the easier it is to tap into it and improvise as that character and stuff. Like for instance, you know, again, like I was just describing the Book of Pooh, how there's, you know, in any shot there's at least 2 characters. So that means that there's at least 6 puppeteers that you can't see, 3 on each character that kind of have to act in sync. They all have to, you know, the main guy's moving the body and the head, and another person is moving the arms, and another person is moving the feet, and we all have to move as one being. We all have to make that thing look like it's moving by itself. And so the more you get kind of in tune with each other and predict what the other ones are going to do, and how the puppet needs to move, so that you don't have to talk about it anymore, you just do it. It's a really cool. It's like being part of a really good band or something, and you all just know how to groove with each other. So being able to consistently do something is pretty awesome. But then I just really like creative problem solving. That's what TV, and most specifically puppets for TV, are. You're always trying to solve the problem of making this thing look like it's alive and look like it's actually picking up something when it doesn't really have fingers, and look like it's actually talking on a phone when it doesn't really have a voice. The voice is coming from somewhere else. Just the idea that every day we come in, we have to invent a way to do something, and then do it till we get it right a couple times, and then do all of that again and come up with a whole new way to do the next thing we have to do. Like on Book of Pooh, we had to make Tigger look like he was juggling. We had to make a puppet look like he was juggling.
Well,
real balls.
Like to be honest, I feel like for you and the other puppeteers to do Tigger, like really have fun to do Tigger, because of how really
energetic he is.
Yeah.
Honestly,
he's like bouncing around everywhere.
Like really, I'm thinking he's the most energetic Winnie the Pooh character ever.
And then Eeyore's the opposite.
That's how he really is.
Depressed.
Wait, what am I thinking?
I said Eeyore's the complete opposite. Eeyore's just depressed.
True. Yeah, and what's funny is that, like, when with all of that stuff, we have to, gravity's doesn't really affect a puppet in the same way it does a human. Like we have to make it look like the arms are flopping and that the legs are bouncing when they're supposed to bounce.
Because he bounces on his tail.
Yep. So all of that means that we're all, technically there's 4 of us when there's somebody doing the tail. We're all moving at the same time. So in order to make it look real, sometimes they have to put a little bit of weight on the puppet, which means I have to lift from his head even harder, stronger. So when we were shooting the show, my right arm was about twice the size that it is now because my forearm was always working so hard for almost a year shooting the 2 seasons of the show. It was like I was working out, but only like this side of my body, like every day.
Oh, wow.
So, Jake, all right, hold on. We're going to have to edit this part out, but Jakey, the meeting time is at 10 minutes.
Yes, I press upgrade.
If we don't forget.
Okay. I press upgrade, and it's still that. So let's just. But thank goodness.
I'll just go with the flow.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness I don't have much time for. But I don't really have much questions. But if you guys want to.
All right, hold on. I do have something. So, the recent series of Pokemon Journeys. I haven't gotten very far to it, but did you return to voice Incineroar for that? Because I know they've been. You did. Oh, yep. Did you voice any Hawluchas in there or anything, or was Hawlucha not in the series? Because I haven't gotten very far because I know they went to Alola so that's why you returned to voice Incineroar. So
he may make a 1 episode appearance.
Because I know there's more coming very soon.
Yeah, I think it's possible. You might see him for a short second.
Ash just has a bunch of Pokemon and just doesn't know what to do with them. He catches like 100 Pokemon every day. So
yeah. So anyway, before the last question, I'm gonna give. Well, unless if you have more questions to both of you. Well, me, I'm right now. I'm going to do this to the fans. Can you like voice the characters of the Book of Pooh, Big Blue House, and It's a Big World that you just get away with the voice?
Throw in the Hawlucha voice too, just for fun.
Oh well, I can do pretty much anybody, except the Pokemon people will not allow us to do the voices of those characters off screen.
Right, because isn't there like a contract and
darn
that one? Yeah, I think it's the same for like Sesame Street people too.
No, so we can like the Muppets and Sesame Street people. Sesame Street and the Muppets are a little more forgiving about it because they're comfortable with.
I guess Pokemon just like and also Pokemon is an international thing.
And it's like a huge, like really huge.
It's originated in Japan, so
yeah, true. And also like I know. Chris, I feel like Dragon Tales probably kind of that too, because I remember one of the characters just wants to do a voice that can't do the character voice or something because of the reasons that's how I'm doing a show, whatever. Or I probably want.
That's probably something to do with PBS.
So you can't even do a Lysander. It's not just the Pokemon. It's the Lysander too. Darn it.
not with being labeled as such. Right. I'm theoretically not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
That having been
we don't want to get you in trouble. So.
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously, I did Trilo earlier. I mean, Trilo, and then there's Pop. Pip and Pop. Hey, Bear, how you doing? You gay? And then, of course, Doc Hall.
All things can make us happy. That's why it's happy right now. How much we grow up shows.
One of the things about Mitchell Kriegman, the gentleman who started the Bear in the Big Blue House, he used to make fun of how much Doc Hall talked because Doc Hall just doesn't shut up. He just likes to talk. Talk. Anyway, who else can we do? And of course,
Winslow, and we all know.
Oh, Winslow, right? Yeah, man, I missed that. She was awesome. It was a beautiful day in WordWorld.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Your narrative voice is literally on point. You're still on point.
Try not to scream into the mic so much.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
I will admit, I didn't, because I grew up with WordWorld a lot. I didn't even know that was you doing the narrator and all those voices. Because I only knew you as like a puppeteer. I didn't know you did like.
When you're a younger kid, you don't register. Like sometimes, depending on how young you are, you don't register that there's voices also.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, when you start, if you watch the videos of the show now, then you'll know because this is Duck here. Quack, quack. And of course, the dog and all that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. All right. Finally, well, if you want to do any Book of Pooh characters, if you voice, I don't know, but
I don't know. I don't think he voiced any.
I think the Book of Pooh characters, as far as voices, were they're the people who've been voicing them for like years.
Like the original Tigger.
I just noticed that.
Did he voice anyone on It's Big Big World or?
Oh yeah.
He did Winslow.
But not
one of the twin monkeys.
If you want to go Rihanna right now,
I know you did a little bit of dress up chess, but do you want to do it again?
Oh yes.
Dress up time. It's been so wonderful being with you all.
That's so amazing.
That's awesome. That's
so awesome. And finally, we on the little sloth of the big world.
Yeah, that does sound like a trio.
Yes. Yeah, we both got snuck.
Yeah, we got here. All right.
Can you do Elmo's dad?
Oh yes. Oh. Yes.
Of course. Well, hold on now. Y'all should know Elmo's father, Louie, is based on Bill Beretta's impersonation of Louis Prima. That's where that comes from.
That's where the name.
So he sounds like he's from New Orleans. Hey, son, how are you today?
Oh my gosh! I must say, so I'm so glad we got actually Sesame Street parents to be, but it's just so amazing that we have characters' parents to be like that person now. What almost that is, which is so amazing.
Yes.
But anyways, I'm gonna say this for this is a wrap. Thank you so much for having here, Tyler. Really honor.
Yes, it's been an honor.
And
having you on.
And yeah, thank you for being with us. And I can't wait for what's going to happen for you in the future. Whether if you're going to do more puppeteer or more voice actor for more shows, who knows? All right, unless if you guys want to say any voices that you want to do, but the last thing I'm going to give as well, since we're about to wrap up, mostly the same question that mostly every podcast had the last question. If anyone wants to know what's your social media, if any of you guys want to follow him or whatever, where you can find.
So on Instagram, I believe I am Tyler_Bunch, all lowercase. And I think I'm pretty easy to find on Twitter. It's about the same.
Yeah.
Too,
to be honest. Anyway, so if you guys want to follow Just Have Nostalgia Show or just me, Matthew, Chris, or Tyler, it's going to be in the description, I swear.
And you guys should know that coming up September, I believe it's 10th and 11th, there's going to be a Disney family reunion.
Yeah, which is going to be from Noel MacNeal's TikTok.
Yep, and that'll be the whole Bear in the Big Blue House cast, along with other
really amazing that the Bear in the Big Blue House
in the morning.
Will be there.
You're going to be a part of that. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
yes, that's going to be
fun. There. I really hope the more shows would be like that. Would be having a reunion like this. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this episode, and hope you guys will see more episodes. Jakeshappy Nostalgia Show. And
yes, and a big thanks again to Tyler Bunch for being a part of the podcast. It's been
and see you all next time for more. And some, or probably in the future, you might be back in the show. Who knows, Tyler? Right. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed, and I really appreciate for the share and a like. See you guys later. Bye-bye. See you next time for another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. See you again soon. Bye-bye.